Think of the last powerful person who did something genuinely wrong. Not a small mistake, something serious. Now, ask yourself, did they actually face consequences? Real ones. Not a resignation with a golden parachute. Not a fine that cost them less than a parking ticket. Not a public apology followed by a comeback tour. Actual consequences. For most of the people you're thinking of right now, the answer is no. And it's not a coincidence. It's not bad luck. And it's not a failure of the system. It is the system, working exactly as it was designed to. We are raised to believe that justice is blind, that the law applies equally to everyone, that power has limits, that wrongdoing, if serious enough, will eventually be punished. This belief is not just wrong. It is precisely the belief that makes the whole thing possible. Because a population that believes in equal justice doesn't look too hard at evidence that it doesn't exist. And that is the first layer of protection powerful people have. Not their lawyers, not their money, not their connections. It's your belief that the system will handle it. Here's what the neuroscience shows. Power, real, sustained power, physically changes the brain. Studies using brain imaging have found that powerful people show reduced activity in a region called the mirror neuron system, the part of the brain responsible for empathy, for feeling what others feel, for imagining the consequences of your actions on other people. Psychologist Dacher Keltner calls this the power paradox. The traits that help people rise to power, confidence, decisiveness, social intelligence, begin to erode the moment power is achieved. What replaces them? A reduced ability to read other people, a weakened capacity for self-regulation, and, critically, a diminished sense that rules apply to them personally. This isn't arrogance as a character flaw. It's a neurological shift. Power doesn't just corrupt, it rewires. Here's how it works in practice. Powerful people operate inside systems that are structurally designed to insulate them from feedback. Employees don't challenge them, because the cost of challenging power is career-ending. Boards of directors don't investigate them, because they were appointed by the same person they'd be investigating. Journalists don't expose them until the story is so large it can't be contained, and by then years of harm have already occurred. And lawyers, their lawyers, are paid specifically to ensure that whatever happens, it cannot be formally proven. This isn't conspiracy. This is organizational physics. When you remove all mechanisms of accountability from around a person, feedback stops, consequences disappear, and behavior that would end anyone else's career becomes simply the way things are. The vacuum doesn't form because people are evil. It forms because every individual inside the system is making a rational, self-interested decision to look away. Here's the mechanism that protects them even when evidence becomes public. Psychologists call it the halo effect, and for powerful people, it operates at industrial scale. When someone has spent decades building a public image, philanthropist, visionary, community leader, job creator, that image becomes a cognitive shield. The human brain cannot easily hold two contradictory models of the same person simultaneously. So when accusations emerge, the brain doesn't reach for "both things can be true." It reaches for the simpler resolution. The accusation must be wrong. The person making the accusation must have an agenda, must want money, must be mistaken. This is why powerful people invest so heavily in reputation, not vanity. Protection. Every hospital wing with their name on it, every charity photo, every profile in a business magazine. Each one is a brick in a wall that evidence has to get through before anyone believes it. For consequences to happen, someone has to make them happen. A witness has to report. A journalist has to publish. A prosecutor has to charge. A jury has to convict. At every single one of those steps, powerful people have leverage. Witnesses face NDAs, legal threats, and the credible destruction of their careers. Journalists face defamation suits expensive enough to bankrupt the publication. Prosecutors face political pressure, funding cuts, and the knowledge that powerful defendants have legal teams that will make the case last a decade. And Juries are made of people who have spent their entire lives absorbing the message that powerful, successful people are fundamentally different from criminals. The halo effect doesn't stop at the newsroom. It walks into the courtroom. This is why convictions of truly powerful people are so rare they become historic events. It's not that evidence doesn't exist. It's that evidence has to survive a gauntlet specifically designed to destroy it. Here's the uncomfortable truth. The reason powerful people rarely face consequences is not primarily because they are smarter or better protected or more ruthless than everyone else. It's because the entire social architecture around them, the legal system, the media system, the organizational system, the psychological system of everyone who interacts with them, bends by default in their direction, not through coordination, not through conspiracy, through the accumulated weight of thousands of individual decisions, each one rational, each one self-interested, each one tiny, that together create an impenetrable structure. Accountability doesn't fail dramatically. It erodes quietly, one person at a time, one look away at a time, one "it's not my job" at a time, until there is nothing left. So what do you do with this? You start by refusing the comfort of the illusion. The system will not handle it. It was not built to handle it. And believing that it will is the first and most important service you can provide to the people inside it. The second thing, understand that accountability, when it does happen, almost never comes from institutions. It comes from individuals who decided that the cost of looking away was higher than the cost of speaking. From one person who wrote something down, one person who kept a record, one person who talked, despite everything telling them not to. Power is not invincible. It just requires more than outrage to move. It requires someone who understands exactly how the protection works and decides to dismantle it anyway. If this video made you see power differently, share it with someone who still believes the system handles it. And subscribe, because every week we take the things nobody explains and show you exactly what's happening beneath the surface.